welcome back to our summer scale challenge. This week we are on week 3. We're going to cover D major and B harmonic minor. Now, if you've studied these scales before in one octave or more, you know that B minor is where your left hand fingering starts to change. It might take a little bit longer to get comfortable with your scales from here on out because some of them have different scale fingerings. That's because we don't want to put fingers 1 or 5 on black keys. So we're going to change things up to avoid that, to make your scales nice and easy to play. The more we do, the more patterns you're going to see to these different scale fingerings. So once you kind of have learned them, you can zoom out and see the patterns and solidify them a little bit more. But for now, what I'll say is if you're doing 1 or 2 octaves or more, just maybe leave a little bit more time. See if you can get to the piano a little more frequently to practice this B minor scale, and your fingers will thank you. It'll start to pay off in a few weeks once you start to get more of these different scale fingerings under your fingers. So if you've made it this far and you complete this week, you will be 1/4 of your way through all of your major and harmonic minor scales. Okay, let's dig into our D major 2 octave scale. If you remember from your 1 octave scale, the sharps that we have in D major are F sharp and C sharp. So when I start to get into the keys that have more and more sharps or flats, I encourage people to kind of map out the terrain before they start, see where the white keys are and where the black keys are in this scale. Kind of make a visual map for yourself about where they'll be, and then adjust your hand accordingly. So you may need to move your fingers in a little bit so you get more of a straight line. The D major scale in the right hand is going to use all regular white key scale fingering. So you're going to cross after 3, then 4, then 3, just as we've been doing in the other scales. The left hand is also going to use regular white key scale fingering, so we're going to start on finger 5 and then cross after 3, then 4, then 3. The goal is to be able to play them hands together in 2 octaves. And if you want a little bit of a challenge, this is a really great scale to try to play staccato. Because of where the black keys are, they happen at your crosses. And if you change your touch to staccato, it makes it a little bit more difficult to keep track of where your hands are. So it's a really good kind of skill building keyboard geography exercise for your fingers. When you're playing your scale staccato, see if you can keep a legato motion, but a staccato touch in your fingertips like this. Okay, now let's move to B harmonic minor. So if you remember a B harmonic minor scale, the black keys that we're going to need are C sharp, F sharp, and A sharp. So there's kind of a lot of up and over motion going on. Let's review. The right hand has regular scale fingering. And the left hand has to start on finger 4. We do this to avoid putting finger 1 on a black key. Otherwise, if we started on 5, finger 1 would fall onto that F sharp, and we don't want to put 1s or 5s on black keys and scales. So we're going to start with your left hand finger 4, and then cross finger 4 to the F sharp, pulling your hand under right away to get this tricky sequence between the F sharp, the G, and the A sharp. Let's continue with finger 3 and then 4. The goal is to be able to play your hands together. Doesn't matter how slowly it is as long as it's steady. It could even be much slower than this, but I'll play it at a moderate tempo so you can hear it. So again, if it's helpful, go back and review your B major scale because that one tends to feel really comfortable for most people. Do you see how my fingers are just kind of floating and folding over the groups of black keys? And then go back and try B minor and simply keep the same motions in the sequence, but take away some black keys. If you want a challenge here, B minor is a great chance for you to revisit that long, short, short, long pattern. Because this scale moves in and out of the black keys and kind of up and over a lot, whenever we kind of change the accented note or change the note that our hands have to move to very quickly, it kind of forces your hand to be as efficient as possible. So if you want a challenge here in 3 or 4 octaves or even 2 octaves, try this long, short, and then short, long. And then back down, and then try it the opposite way, so short, long. Thanks for joining me again this week, friends. Keep up the good work, keep up the practicing. The more you let these cook, the better they'll feel under your fingers, and it just takes a little bit of time. So make sure to give yourself just the time and exploration you need at the piano to make these scales work for you. I will see you next week, and in the meantime, I hope that you enjoy the music you make in your home.